A lot of people don't realize, but on the sly, I'm writing a screenplay. It was once public on a blog, but I took it off the blog, and I'm working on it at the Psychosocial Clubhouse, and even at home, I'm working on this screenplay. Most of the screenplay is present day, so what I'm going through at the present moment. However, some people suggested I write an origin story. I don't know if the origin story should start when my parents got divorced and I was getting bullied in middle and high school, or if the story should start when I'm 18 years old and we explore the bullying and parents' divorce through flashbacks. I think, my college years were the most interesting and compelling part, and my childhood wasn't really all that interesting aside from, quirky experiences with my parents and, getting bullied and parents' divorce. So maybe we'll develop my character. And the character isn't really entirely me. Obviously, it's based on my life experiences, but it's very Lady Gaga-like sensational, meaning, we crank the comedy to 11, to quote Spinal Tap. If something was like a 2 on the funny scale, we crank it past 10 to 11. I know my psychiatrist, Dr. Natural, he likes a more serious approach, analytical, educational, serious, that you talk about the pain and suffering that people went through when it comes to mental illness. And I mean, dry educational screenplays are interesting too, but I think when it comes to me, my strength is comedy and doing a comedic perspective on mental illness. And it's a bit like Pink Floyd The Wall. What winds up happening is I retreat into an internet fantasy land. That is my wall, the internet fantasy land. And in the end, I'm going to come out of the internet fantasy land by going to recovery groups, going to support groups, going to psychosocial clubhouses, meeting friends. And, eventually, I'll start to develop a life. I'll have a life. And in the end, I'll be sad about the years of lost time and the severe mental illness I had to suffer through, but I'll be happy that I've developed a life and I'm living life happily. So it's like a bittersweet kind of thing. It's like I look back on being behind the wall. Somebody suggested I call this screenplay The Firewall, kind of like Pink Floyd The Wall. And if it is, a comedy, that's actually a funny name. But, obviously Pink Floyd probably wouldn't be okay with that because they would say, that's too similar to our idea, so I probably have to brainstorm another idea. Maybe like part 2. They have the origin story, and when I'm in my internet fantasy land, not leaving my house, maybe that episode would be called The Firewall. And then, the third episode in the trilogy, that will be, but yeah, I'm working on the screenplay. It's not public at the moment, it's private, and that is what it is.